guys, Team Create here coming at you today with another deck profile, and in today's deck profile we're going to be taking a look at Hexeblaumon. Before we actually get into the list, here's a message from our sponsors.
Ultimate TCG is a store that stocks everything TCG related. Whether that be Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic or Digimon, you name it, they've got it. Head over to their website and use the code TCHIT505 to get 5% off your order. Have you been looking for your new favourite playmat? Well, Cho Sugoi is the place to be. Whether it be customized playmats, memory tokens or anything else, they have everything you will need to play the game and more. Even better, when checking out, if you use our discount code TEAMCRITHIT, you can also get 5% off your order.
So yeah, let's get straight into the list. We'll start our list with our babies, as we always do in our lists, and in this one we're actually running 4 Uppermon and 1 Bukamon. Now I will warn you, because blue has some really funky names in this list, I may struggle to actually pronounce some of them, which is going to be really cool. Sure. So Uppermon is a very nice plus ability of inheritable when attacking once per turn. If your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, you trigger draw 1. This is a really fantastic way to be able to get cards to your hand and get those pieces that you need to be able to do your combos in this deck, which is very, very nice, and it's a very consistent way to do that. Now the Bukamon is and also a pretty nice inheritable, to be fair, for what our deck wants to be doing. It has the inheritable of when attacking, you can trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon cards. Now this can come in very slightly clutch sometimes if your opponent's gone very wide and you just need that additional target but on a different card, so that you can target your source removal on more pressing Digimon that your opponent has. It's nice, and it's nice to be able to run a 5th egg that actually links to what the deck's doing, which is super nice. Very nice eggs overall. And moving on to our rookies, we're running 4. Ooh, here we go, it's starting already. Bukamon? I'm going to go with Bukamon, and I'm going to say it with confidence from my chest. So Bukamon is a very nice card that we're getting in set 5. It has a Digivolve cost of 4. Logoman is a very nice Digimon that we're actually getting in set 5. It has a play cost of 4, 3000 DP, which is actually quite nice for a rookie right now. A lot of stuff's been getting 2000 or even 1000, and it's so nice because it has an inheritable effect of once per turn during your turn. When you trash a Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, you gain 1 memory, which is super duper nice to be able to extend your plays. Now this deck can be rather scary to play against in general, but the real reason it's terrifying is because of how much memory they can actually gain from the likes of the Logoman and other cards that I'll show you in the list. And it definitely just pumps that memory gain that we're used to seeing blue have to the maximum, and that's really scary to play against, and just stops you from being able to really stop them. So memory stopping your opponent who's playing blue really hurts. But the next cards that we're looking at is Gomamon. So Gomamon is very, very similar to the Bukamon in that it has an inheritable of when you trash a Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, you gain 1 memory. So both gaining memory from doing the exact same thing really. But this is a 3 play cost and a DP power of 1 instead. But although they're very similar, what's fantastic is the fact that you can have both out. It means that you have effectively 8 of the same card, meaning that you're consistently going to be getting one of these out in your inheritables to make sure that you're gaining those pluses to your memory, so that you can just absolutely snowball your opponent once you're really hurting them. Next up, and the last of our rookies actually, which is a bit short for usual, but it's because we needed a lot of room to fit other stuff, is Gomamon. So we're actually running 12 rookies, but it's all you really need in this list we found, and this is the same as we run in a lot of our lists. It is the 2 play cost rookies. Now the reason we're running these is because they're just super strong right now, and pretty much I think most decks bar yellow should be running these because of how much value they add. Being able to hard play a rookie for 2 and then play a champion on top of it and it still be your turn is super effective in the current meta, especially with so much removal. Definitely love the Gomamons, and definitely going to be keeping these in when we look at stuff. Next up, looking at our champions, is a card that Blue's actually been wanting for a very long time. It is the 1 Digivolve cost blockers. So these are very fantastic. Blue and Red actually didn't have any access to these, and it's nice to see that they're finally getting them in BT5. So it's a 6 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 1 and DP power of 5. So what we used to have for blockers was a 5 play cost, a 2 Digivolve cost, and a 6k DP. So everything's gone up slightly well, the play cost has gone up and the DP and the Digivolve cost has gone down, both by 1, which is quite nice, but it just has the same effects of blocker and you lose 2 memory when attacking with it. But it's so nice because being able to Digivolve for 1 means you can climb higher into other cards and into your Mega faster, which is super critical in this deck where Hexeblaumon is your boss monster card. Next, looking at some of our other champions, we are running 3 Pielderman. I think I got that right. I'm going to go with it. So Pielderman is our choice that we're running over the Gorillamon, which is very similar but has a more increased play cost. So Pielderman has a 3 play cost and a 1 Digivolve cost with 3000 DP, and Gorillamon has a 6 play cost with 6000 DP. Now they both have their own things in merit, but we like the idea of being able to play the Pielderman instead of having to pay the 6 that you would for the Gorillamon, and this can act as though you were playing a rookie but actually be a champion, and that's very nice. And likewise with the blocker being a 1 Digivolve cost, it's as good and efficient for exactly the same reasons, being able to climb higher into higher different levels for a lower cost, which is fantastic. Next up, we are running a Pielderman, which is super duper nice, and again, this one is coming from BT5. It's a 5 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 2, DP power of 4000, which is like the Pielderman, you actually have to be wary of when you're playing against Lord Nightmon, because they have a lot of ways of removing Digimon's power of 4000. So this could be a very easy way for them to remove a champion, so watch out for that. And has the 1 Digivolving effect of trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Being able to remove some of your sources from your opponent's cards before you even get into your Mega is super duper nice, and means that you're able to stop them from the get-go, being able to get there early, and then when you go into Hexeblaumon, you don't have so much pressure to have to remove all of the sources then, because you have cards like the Pielderman already putting in heavy work for you. Next up, and to finish off our champions, we are running 2 Logoman. So we found that Logoman is such a very nice card that we definitely want some of them there because it can catch your opponent off guard. So Logoman is a 5 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 2, and it has 5000 DP, and it came out in BT4. It has the effect of you may Digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your blue tamers as if the tamer is a level 3 Digimon. Now this is super nice and clutch at times to be able to Digivolve on top of your tamer. It comes up active and you can swing for game. Your opponent just doesn't expect it, and it's definitely one that you sometimes hate to see it if you can't have it at times because you don't want to waste your tamers, but when you get it when you need it, it definitely feels fantastic. So we definitely want to keep 2 of those in. Speaking of fantastic, up next we have some of our ultimates, and this is Chris Pielderman, I believe its name is Chris Pielderman. But overall, whatever its name is and how you pronounce it, it's a very nice card. It has a play cost of 8, a Digivolve cost of 3, and DP power of 7000. So stats rather normal for an ultimate, other than that play cost being a little bit high. It has the when Digivolving effect of trash the bottom Digivolution cards of all of your opponent's Digimon, which is super nice again if your opponent's gone wide. Being able to put work in before you enter your Hexeblaumon, again, meaning that you don't have to heavily rely on options cards and the effect of Hexeblaumon to remove Digivolution sources from your opponent's Digimon. Now the reason that this card is so fantastic outside of that when Digivolving effect is because that inheritable effect of, during your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gains security attack +1, adding some much needed punch to your Hexeblaumon deck, because it stops your opponent when they are already in a very difficult situation from being able to go, well, at least I have a lot of security, because you go big punch with the Hexeblaumon with the Christ Pielderman effect, and Hexa has the ability to gain jamming, so being able to do that can completely shut your opponent down and really start to swing things into your favour. Next up, we are running Zoodamon. So we've actually got 3 Zoodamons here, and this is another way to be able to trash your opponent's Digivolution stuff. So this is from the starter deck, I believe, and it is a 6 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 3. It has 7000 DP, and it has the when Digivolving effect of trash 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Now, it's not very often that your opponent necessarily will go wide with a lot of Digivolution sources, because a lot of the time that means that they have to raise the cards to do that. So the Zoodamon feels fantastic to be able to remove something if they brought that out from the raising area, and then you can go into your Hexeblaumon ready to stop them from ever attacking, which is fantastic. Definitely nice, and definitely liking 3 of these in the list. Finishing off our ultimates is one of my favourite cards, just for artwork rise. And I've always just thought that was a really, really nice ability. We're running 2 Shikomon. So Shikomon is a 8 play cost, which is a bit high. It has 7,000 DP, like the rest of all of our ultimates. So it just goes to show that 7 is quite the norm for ultimates. And it has a Digivolve cost of 3 on top of yellow or blue. Now this is a yellow Digimon, so watch out for that. But you don't really have to worry too much about that because it has the during your turn effect of this Digimon is also treated as a blue. So that means you can still cast those options cards while Shikomon is on the field. It also has the opponent's turn effect of all of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. And this means that if you don't have your Hexeblaumon out, it means that you are able to stop your opponent from doing that. So if they're heavily removing your hexes, you can still have the Shikomon out there to be able to stop them from attacking you and finishing the game. So it can definitely come out clutch at times, and that's what we like because we're able to draw cards from our Uppermons and from other sources. It's really nice to be able to have this as a backup if you can't get your Hexer out. Speaking of Hexa, here it is, and look at that artwork, absolutely fantastic. Now, I just absolutely adore this card. I've been super excited to see it. I'm not one to play blue, to be honest. I think it can go either way for me, but I'm definitely going to be playing this. Just from that artwork alone, it looks fantastic. So it's a 12 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 3. It has 11,000 DP, which may seem scary, but you'll understand why from its abilities. When attacking, trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gains jamming. So that works perfectly with the ultimate that I've just showed you, being the Pielderman. Giving jamming while it has a +1 security attack means that it's swinging for 2 with jamming. And it's just super scary, super frost ice thing coming towards you. And then it also has the amazing effect of all turns, your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution sources cannot attack or block. Now, something to watch out there for is that all block statement. If your opponent hard plays a blocker, good job. It does nothing because you can't block because of Hexeblaummon's effect. Something that you should definitely be aware of and definitely watch out for if your opponent tries to block you when you're swinging with a rookie, swinging with something a little spicy, and you go, oh, hold up, Hexeblaumon says you can't do that, I'm going to check security with a 2-cost rookie, is super cool, and I've caught some opponents off while playing that, and that's super nice. So next up is a card that we're just testing out right now. The format is still bubbling, so we're still looking at options, but we've been testing Shikomon, and it's really been coming up clutch for us at sometimes because it adds that extra potency that we kind of need sometimes. So it has a 12 play cost with a Digivolve cost of 4, which is a little bit steep, but because you have ways of gaining memory from outside ways, it's not that bad. It has DP power of 12,000, which is nice if you ever want to swing it into one of your opponent's cards, or just for survivability when checking security. And that survivability when checking security is important because it has the during your turn effect of, while your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gains +1,000 DP and security attack +1. Making it a 13k swinger with a security attack +1 means that it has a high chance of survivability and definitely a high chance of putting that output damage, which we sometimes need in this deck. Speaking of output and damage, here is the card that is probably brilliant for doing that. This is Omnimon. This is the new Omnimon, which is just one of my favorite cards. The more I read this card, the more I'm beginning to love it. So this Omnimon is a 15 play cost, which you don't want to do. It has a Digivolve cost of 4 on top of red or blue, and it has 14,000 DP, which is lower than we're used to with the old Omnimon, being used to be 15, but this is 14 now, so watch out for that. It has the when Digivolving effect of Blitz. This Digimon can attack when your opponent has 1 or more memory, which is super nice. It has the when Digivolving effect of Unsuspend this Digimon, which is definitely why this is like a finisher in a lot of decks, because you can swing with a security attack, wipe out your opponent's security, and then go into Omnimon, and even though it's your opponent's turn, it still attacks for game. Super nice. And you may be thinking, well, what if you can't do that? And it's just stood there, and there's so many Omnimons that are 15k in the meta now, what do? Well, it has the all turns effect of, if an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon card in this Digivolution card's sources. Super really like fantastic. Stops your opponent from just going reduce and kill it, and you go, okay, I'll just use Omnimon's effect to stop that. Thank you for putting all of your eggs in one basket, stand, and then swing. super nice, and just a very nice card overall. Definitely a really nice level 7 in the deck. Really nice cards, cannot come better and sooner than Hammerspark. We're still running 4 Hammerspark in our blue list, and of course we are, because this card is absolutely ridiculous still. It's a 0 cost options card for blue, with the main effect of simply gain 1 memory, and the very potent effect of security, gain 2 memory. I've played against blue so much where I've got game on board, I swing into security and they go, Hammerspark, you lose 4 memory, it's my turn. And I just go, oh, okay, I'm dead now, thank you very much, and I want to cry inside. So definitely running 4 Hammerspark. It's still a very fantastic card to stockpile in your hand, cast as you can, and then be able to do your super potent combos. Really nice Hammerspark. Next up, looking at our tamers, we have some of the new tamers in the form of Sora and Joe Kiddo. So Sora and Joe is a 4 play cost tamer with the start of your turn effect of, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, you gain 2 memory, which is very nice and one of the very difficult ways to stop your blue from actually gaining so much memory. And it has the start of your just a during your turn effect of, when you attack with a blue Digimon, you may suspend this tamer to trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Really nice effect there, being able to do this, again, helping you build to that Hexeblaumon requirement of having your opponent's cards with no Digivolution sources to stop them from attacking and making what they play useless effectively. Now, what else are we running? We are running 2 Mattishida, which works perfectly in tandem with the Sora and Joe memory-wise, because this is the memory tamer for blue. This is the 4 play cost with the start of your turn effect of, if you have 2 or less memory, you set your memory to 3, and the during your turn effect of, when you play a blue Digimon, you can suspend this tamer to trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Really nice. Again, another way for you to be able to do it, they're very similar like the Sora and Joe, and what's nice is they both have the security effect of play this card without paying its memory cost. Having this out and this out really already can mean that you're going to 5 memory every single turn, but when you start to get even more of the Sora and Joe out, that's when your opponent starts to cry a lot, because it's very potent. But yeah, that is our Hexeblaumon list. Let us know what you think of the list. We'd love to know what your favourite deck is and what you're looking forward to the most in BT5. And just before you leave, here is a message from our sponsors.
Crit Hit Game Hub is the largest gaming store in Liverpool and stocks all things games. From card games to D&D to Warhammer, whatever game you play, they have a place for you. Also, using our codes CritHitDigiTeam, you can also get 10% off your order.